Welcome back to Daybreak. I'm your host, Randy Clark. The time is 6:28, and I have a very special guest with me this morning. This is Mr. Ken Morris. He's going to be with the Sylacauga High School this year. Good morning, Ken.
How you doing this morning, sir?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm well, thank you, sir.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Ken.
All right, my name is Ken Morris, and I am originally from Sylacauga. I lived between Sylacauga and Fayetteville on the Shelvin Rock Road. That's where I was born and raised. I went to Fayetteville School. I served in the U.S. military in the Navy from '88 to '92 during the Persian Gulf War. Once I finished my service time, I come back and worked for OMIA and Honda Manufacturing and CAC, and I stumbled upon this job about 2 months ago, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity.
So what is the title of the job, Ken?
It's modern manufacturing teacher.
That strikes a chord with me.
Yes, sir.
I like that. We're kind of diving into the trades again, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is our plan. We're going to teach the kids not only on the book side of jobs, but also on the technical side. That way, when they go in to the workforce, they'll already have some technical jobs that they can, you know,
heading towards skills, right?
Exactly, and that way, when the employer says, "What can you do?" they say, "Hey, I got these certifications in this, this, and this," and that makes them more appealing to the employers.
Yes. Has the manufacturers been cooperating with you? I mean,
yes, sir.
Kind of letting you know what skills they're looking for?
Yes, sir. I actually went and done a couple of tours of a couple of plants, OMIA and Heritage Plastics, 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And I went without the students. It was just us teachers that went, and they're really excited about this because it gives them an opportunity to watch these kids grow through high school, and then, you know, they'll already have that you know, foothold in the company when it comes time to graduate.
Right.
So it's a great thing for the kids, and it's a great thing for the community.
Yeah, so kind of what I call a double-edged sword.
It is.
You got, you know, I'm sure all these companies has a training program, but what you're doing is kind of coming up, you got them already trained or headed that way.
That's right. That's right.
All they'll have to do is get in with a company and kind of find out their roles. But as far as the skills go, you're already got them there.
Yes, sir. And the biggest thing that I'm concerned about with the kids is the safety portion of going into those plants. Right. And that is the first module that we start teaching whenever they walk through the door. They don't touch anything in our labs until they know the safety aspects of it first.
Right. So what grades are you teaching?
I am teaching 10th, 11th, and 12th grades.
Just right.
Yes, sir. And by the time that they get out, or by the time they finish up the program, they should be certified and, you know, be that star for those companies.
Right. You know, I'm so glad y'all doing this. I've been wanting this for years. I kind of wish we would bring the trade schools back, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Well, you know, you have baby steps right now. Right. You know, I'm just glad that the higher ups in Alabama, you know, the governor, all of them got together and said, "Hey, we need to do something. You know, we have all these jobs and we need to fill them, but we need to train these kids before we send them out there."
Right. You know, not to put down colleges. I love colleges, and college education is fine. There's a lot of skilled jobs out there. Everybody's not fit to go to college, right, Ken?
That's right, and that's what this is designed for. Right. It's for those kids that, you know, just don't really want to go to college. They just want to go straight to work after they graduate. And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I did that myself. I got my education later in life, and it's helped me to be able to help these kids with the knowledge that I have for all these years that I've been in the workplace. So it's a win-win for all of us.
Right, right. Well, I'm so glad you're doing this. So what is some of the companies that you've kind of been involved with getting this program rolling?
Honda's a big, yes, sir. The automotive companies in the state of Alabama, they're constantly going through people. So they're always needing new employees to come in. And this way, whenever the kids go in, they have a little bit of knowledge of what to expect. I think a lot of people that go to work at these auto plants straight off the street, they have no idea, and when they get in there, they're like, oh, this is not what I expected. So the turnover rate at auto plant is huge.
It is huge. Yes.
So they'll at least know what they're getting into, and be able to stay there, and for the company.
Right. And can we talk a little bit about maintenance jobs?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Right.
As far as the maintenance jobs, I'll be teaching them basic tools, band saws, jigs, hand saws. But if we have anybody that needs to come out and does welding and pipe fitting, I'll have someone come out and bring their welding machine if we don't have one, and teach the kids how to weld, and we also have what we call VR. Virtual reality, and that's going to be huge for the kids, because they can put this mask on, these goggles, and they have joysticks, and those joysticks acts just like their welding rods.
Right.
So it shows them how to weld virtually.
Right.
So it's huge.
Right.
I mean, the state is it's been like, the expense does not matter.
Right.
We want our kids to be ready to go to work whenever they get out of high school.
They're our future, Ken.
That's right. They are our future.
One thing I really like about this program is you're introducing a lot of these kids. They don't get an introduction to being a machinist, or being a welder, or being a carpenter, or and y'all are introducing to them, and they can take a liking to these trades.
That's right.
And that's right off the bat. And then they can further their education in it, also while getting experience, right?
That's right, and that's exactly what we want them to do.
Right.
And I think that's the one thing with the VR and the training tools that we use. You got to keep the students occupied, and you got to keep them interested. And that is also part of my job to do that. Because once you lose one, it's hard to bring them back.
Right.
So that we're hoping that they will find something they enjoy, and we can really stick to them at that, and show them what they do, realistically what they do, not just what in a book, but the realistic aspect of the job. And that way they'll know, I think I'll like this, or no, I think I'll try something else.
Right.
So yeah, that's the whole premise behind this.
Right. So I bet you've been real busy this summer getting your stuff set up, right?
Oh yes, sir. I've been having to order all kind of tools, and going to conferences. Last week, actually, I was in Mobile for 3 days for a CTE conference, and that's Career and Technical Education Conference. Right. And it was wonderful. I mean, all of the vendors come out. They show you all the new equipment that the teachers can use to help the kids, and several breakout classes that we go to. It was 3 days of absolute joy. I really appreciated it, and I really enjoyed it.
What is you talking about this class? What are some of the main things that you brought out of this class?
Probably with me would be the robotics. And that's huge.
It's big. Honda plant.
Yes, sir.
Big time. A lot of things is going to robotics now.
Yes, sir. And the one thing that really caught my eye was one of the new robots that they got now. With Honda, you actually have to use a computer and go in and teach these robots how to work. Well, now they got a robot that you can take your hand and put it on the robot and move
Robots teaching a robot?
Yeah, exactly. You're teaching it by moving it with your hand.
Right.
And then whenever you put it back in its enabled mode, it'll do exactly what you showed it.
Right.
And that is so easy. Right. And I mean, I'm sure there's more to it than that, but that was just the demonstration that we got. and I was totally impressed. And for the money, if it's very possible with our next budget, come next year, one will be in my classroom.
Right, right.
Yes, sir.
Well, you know, we seen movies about this 30 years ago. We just thought it was a movie. Now it's coming to real life.
Yes, sir. Everything is. I mean, you would have never thought when we were kids, and we didn't even have cell phones or anything. Yeah, I look at these kids now. They so far ahead of us in technology. You know, it's hard for me to keep up because I have to go back and learn what they have already learned.
Right.
You know, just coming up through their young lives.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing about, you know, keeping them interested is, you know, I have to get down on their level or up to their level, I should say.
There you go.
Because they're way ahead of us. And but that's where all the industries are going. You go to let's say Omnia, you don't see people out there manually working anymore. Everything's run by a computer or PLCs. And the kids have got to know how to do that.
Right.
But then there is times if you'll have to change a motor, you know, or you'll have to change a pump. So you got to know how to use basic tools to be able to do that.
Exactly.
You know, so that's where we come in.
Tape measure.
Got to teach them how to read a ruler, and that is going to be the one thing that's going to be on every board. I have 2 classrooms, a lab and a classroom, and I've already put thought to it. I'm going to have me a big 1-inch measure, and that way they can learn the different measurements for a full inch.
That was one of my pet peeves when I was working in the trade. Was get a young guy with all kinds of ambition, then I found out he couldn't read a tape measure. I thought you learned how to read a tape measure in school. I think I did.
Well, I think I did too, and I actually told a student one time. I said, and listen, and this was back when I was subbing at Fayetteville. And I told him, I said, listen, I said, you have got to learn how to use this tape measure. I said, think about this. I said, when you get a grown man and your wife tells you need to go in there and hang that picture on the wall, and she's supposed to be 5 foot high and 3 foot over from the edge, I said, you got to know how to use that tape measure.
That's right.
I said, you're going to use it for the rest of your life.
Right.
So you got to learn how to use these skills.
Math. I'm so thankful that math was one of my favorite subjects in school. I know it's changed a little bit now, the way you learn math, but when it comes down to it, it's all math, right?
It's all math, and talking about when we were in school, when I was going to school at Fayetteville, you know, to graduate, all you had to have was just basic math skills. It's not like that anymore.
Right.
When I started college, you know, I had to start taking algebra and calculus, and I was lost.
Yep, right.
But you know, just like the kids now, you just got to have that want to. You got to want to make it happen, and that's exactly what I did. I just, you know, it took me years, literally, because I started at the community college level and worked all the way up through the university level, and ended up with my master's. But it took me years, you know, because I had to work too. I had to make a living.
Exactly.
So.
Well, Ken, we're about out of time. Any last words?
No, I don't think so, unless you got one for me.
Okay, I think we about covered it all. First of all, I want to welcome you to the community, even though you are a hometown guy.
Yes, sir.
You're new to this classroom.
That's right.
So I think it's going to be great. I'm really interested in it. I think as well most of the community is too.
Yes, sir.
So welcome to Sylacauga High School.
Thank you, sir.
I want to check in with you here a little bit later and see how everything's going.
I'd appreciate that.
That's Mr. Ken Morris. He's going to be the
modern manufacturing teacher
modern
at Sylacauga High School.
instructor at Sylacauga High School. Thank you, Ken. We'll
Thank you,
be
sir.
right back. Time is 6:42. Let's take a little commercial break.